and said, LeBron, you're too small.
How'd Patrick Beverley do? Did he cry about it on his podcast yet?
Let's check in on how he performed last night. Here's the stat panel. 0 points, 2 rebounds, 5 missed shots, and a plus-minus of negative 32, making matters worse.
So in the minutes he didn't play, the Bulls won by 21.
Yeah. Making matters worse,
That's
Austin
your guy,
Reeves
Wilds.
then hit Patrick Beverley with his own move, which I thought was unsportsmanlike. Here's a naked LeBron postgame.
The AR always got my back. Always.
Last question, Mike.
Even though he loved Kobe back in the day. I forgive him.
So if you missed it, he said AR has my back always, and also LeBron just wearing a towel.
All right,
I've seen him in some nice Tom Brown suits.
Wild.
Not that time.
All right, that to me is actually the story. Listen, Patrick Beverley playing like Patrick Beverley, all bark, no bite. Nobody's surprised by that. He's a horrific offensive player that gets way more airtime than a player of his caliber deserves. He's a homeless man's Dylan Brooks. So now to the story. Why was LeBron naked in that interview? I've seen a lot of LeBron post-game interviews. That is intentional, is it not, Wild?
I mean, unless it was
he's trying to send a message?
Scheduling mishap.
That he's in great shape?
Do you remember when the bubble playoffs started and his beard was fully gray?
He has this theory
and I thought it was a psychological ploy because he usually shaves the gray out of his beard color. I don't know what he does, but it's usually then the bubble playoffs started and it looked like Santa Claus. And I'm like, oh,
didn't look like Santa
he's
Claus.
trying to send a message. Yeah. I'm the oldest guy out here and I'll still bust your heads.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was I'm the oldest guy in the league that still plays, and by the way, still in the best shape of
Great shape
in basketball. Like this was not accidental. He's very careful about how he does media. He knows what when they're going to be talking. They're always talking to him. All those things. Why do you think he did it in a towel only?
Bro, do you have
I just know that because I did a lot of feature stories, cover stories on LeBron for ESPN the magazine back in the day. He was very much against taking off his shirt, going shirtless in an interview for his image and things like that. I don't know what the message was. What I do know is Dusty, that's the body I want to see on Bruce Wild Wild West. Something like that. That's more realistic than that pot-bellied geezer that they showed me as. That's the body, Dusty. That's close to what I look closer. Like. You don't see me under here, but it's about like LeBron. It's about not quite, but it's about like LeBron.
I mean, if you didn't tune in to the show yesterday, you don't even know what you were showing. Bulls. AD had a monster game, 38 points. After the win, here's what LeBron said via Dave McMenamin transcript. He always plays like that. No, not necessarily. Just got to kick him in the behind every now and then. But he always plays like that, so I never worry about him, huh? Nick, are you confident this version of AD will show up for the playoffs?
38 points?
If the Lakers make the playoffs.
Okay, the Lakers are listen, just so America knows, since we're all tied to our opinions, Wild says the Lakers missing the play-in, Bruce the Mavs missing the play-in. Okay, you're not allowed to change it.
Not allowed to change
an opinion you gave 9 days ago. Not allowed to do that. Do I think AD is going to score 38? No, of course. But AD this month is 27, 12, on 59% shooting and all-world defense.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, the problem for AD is this. Unlike the other superstars of the league, his bad games are like no-show games.
Yeah.
But his excellent games, his peaks are as high as almost anybody's peak when you incorporate what he does defensively. Right. Not as high as Giannis's peak, it doesn't feel to me like, but just about anybody else. Perimeter guys can light up for 50 or 60. It's a different thing, shooting all threes. But it's like, if Giannis has an off night, if Embiid has an off night, feels like they still somehow find their way to 20. And AD's off night, it's like, he had 12. He had 8. And so that's why in a month where 5 times he scores more than 35, he only, quote-unquote, averages 27. But I tell you right now, I really like the spot the Lakers are in, and I really like what they were able to do last night in a game they knew they had to win. They took control of immediately. They're up 27-10. They didn't put the reserves in, and they let the Bulls back into it, and then they took control right back of the game. So I don't know that he's going to score 38, but I think he's going to be very good in the playoffs.
Okay, I do think the Lakers are dangerous like you do, but can we calm down that they beat the Bulls? You've told
Hold on, you told me they were good.
I know, but you've told us for the last week how horrible the Bulls are, and they were going to sweep them, and they end up splitting with them.
Award-winning Wild East, you told me they had won 7 of 10.
They're the 8th best team in the East is what I said.
That is what you told me, and you told me when LeBron came back, he was going to be bad. And that was a big concern. And there's a second game back, and he was excellent. I think Brewer and I both told
good. And as a team, they look good.
1-1
too.
lost 1.
But to answer the question, yeah, this is the exact Anthony Davis I expect to see in the playoffs. Because I'm not just looking at last night. You brought up the last month. I'm looking at AD, period. This is AD. 38-10 last night. 3 games ago, 37-15. Sandwiched around the 15-9.
Yeah.
That's what AD
That's
is.
what I'm saying. Yes.
And that's what we're going to get. So, look, go to Phoenix when they played Phoenix in the first round in 2021, when Phoenix got to the finals. First game, AD goes 13-7. Really? That's what you give me? Game 1 of the playoffs? And they lose. Next 2 games, he goes 34 points and 10 and 11 rebounds. Then he gets hurt in game 4.
He gets hurt, so you take
Finals. Remember the first two games against Miami, he was the MVP.
Yep.
And I think even through game 3, he probably was the MVP, although after averaging 33 and 11 in the first 2 games, 63% shooting, game 3 comes out with a 15-5.
Yeah.
And part of it's that he doesn't shoot. He has these games. The reason Embiid will get 20 or Giannis in a bad game is because they get to the line, but they're also still engaged.
Yeah.
Anybody can miss shots.
So his
Jordan,
field goal,
LeBron, we've seen all them
attempts,
miss shots.
that 15-point game, 6 for 8.
Right.
And then the 8-point game took 7 shots.
Yep.
So
that's the thing. If he would take 15 shots every night, at least 15 or 18 shots, so he's going to get 20-something points.
This is going to sound unfair, but I mean it to be a leadership question. Is this LeBron's responsibility, like he was in the quote, like, hey, I've got to drive him a little bit more?
I think AD's too old for that.
But he's not. LeBron's telling you, like, he needs it.
Yeah, but I think that's I'm not there. I'm not in the locker room. I think that's a very fine line. I think when Anthony Davis is already a Hall of Famer,